Well, good evening. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this, our 11th annual L3 Student Leadership Banquet. Tonight we are going to celebrate and we're going to recognize a great group of student leaders whose leadership and service personifies the mission of Lindsey Wilson College and the spirit of living, learning, and leading. And we want to welcome all of you to campus, especially parents and family members. At this time, I'm going to ask Miss Gabby Piles, I saw her, there you are, to come up. She's going to lead us in the invocation. After the invocation, if you don't mind, these three tables here will go first, and then everyone else can just fill in as appropriate. Thank you.
Pray with me. Father God, Lord, I just come to you right now, and God, I just want to thank you so much for this beautiful day you've given us, first of all, and I thank you for all of these people who have been able to come here tonight, God, for our families who travel here to celebrate with us, God. And Lord, I just thank you so much for Lindsey Wilson College and all that it means to each one of us here. Lord, we're just so thankful to have such a wonderful school and leaders who just pour into us and are making us into better people, God, and who just point us straight to you. Lord, so we just love you. Thank you for this night. Thank you for celebration. Thank you for food, and I pray that you would just bless it to our bodies. God, we love you so much, and it's in your name I pray. Amen.
Public Affairs for KFC, where she oversees media and public relation efforts for the brand and its more than 4,200 restaurants nationwide. Over the past 3 years, Lori has led fun and breakthrough PR initiatives that delivered outstanding results. She also leads the promotion of multiple new product launches each year. While half of her job is generating the good buzz about KFC, the other half is controlling the negative spin and derailing crisis when it occurs. Lori has been a part of the business strategy to better train restaurant personnel, and she leads the crisis team to control issues before they reach a crisis point that could derail KFC's 5 consecutive years of growth. In 2017, Lori was named to PR Week's 40 Under 40 list of professionals who are stepping forward to redefine the marketing and communication sector. She is also the current president of the Bluegrass chapter of the Public Relations Society of America. We are proud to boast that Lori is a 2002 graduate and proud supporter of Lindsey Wilson College. In addition, she holds a master's degree from the renowned University of Missouri School of Journalism. When she's not working or cheering on her favorite team during football season, you can find her spending time with her husband, Josh, who's joined us tonight, and their 2 daughters, Julia and Hannah. Like all great moms and people who are service-minded, she dedicates time to organizations she cares about, like Blessings in a Backpack and the PTO at her daughter's school. Please welcome back to campus, Miss Lori Riddle Eberens.
Stuff. I'm like, who's he talking about? Thank you so much for having me. When Schmitty asked me to do this, he told me after I said yes that you guys were also going to spend like 3 days in like a leadership symposium. And so then I was like, great. So they're going to spend days hearing from leadership experts. So what in the world could I possibly say that's going to top that? And I admit that I thought about it for several weeks and I didn't come up with a good answer. So I did what any self-respecting English major would do, and I got a book. But actually, I was at this Women in Food Service Forum last year, which sounds, I agree, like amazingly lame. But it's actually super empowering women's conference with thousands of women that are in the restaurant and food service business come together in Dallas. Michelle Obama was the closing speaker, so that will tell you it's really a legit cool thing. But it was actually the keynote speaker who had the most impact on me that week. And he was a researcher. His name is Sean Acker. He's actually a happiness researcher. And I kind of wondered when he told us that what his conversation was like when he went home and said, Dad, I'm going to be a happiness researcher. I feel like if my girls said that, I'd be like, oh, what? That's not a thing. But it is, and he's super successful. So he wrote several books, but the recent one is called Big Potential. And I literally ordered it from my chair at this conference after listening to him. He has an amazing TED Talk too, which you should Google. But Big Potential starts out with this story that was really enlightening and impactful to me. So I thought I would read a little bit of it to you. So take a little journey with me. Imagine it's 1935. So when dusk slowly crept upon a mangrove forest lining a river deep in a jungle in Southeast Asia, a biologist who was far from his home in Washington State looked out over the lush alien landscape lining the snake-infested waters. Don't leave me, I don't like snakes either. So while drifting slowly in his boat, Professor Hugh Smith looked up at one of the mangrove trees, and suddenly the entire canopy glowed, as if a lightning bolt had shot out from the tree instead of striking it. Then it was dark. And then lightning, as it sometimes does, struck twice. The entire tree glowed again and then went entirely dark twice in 3 seconds. And then all of the trees along the riverbank slowly glowed in unison. Every tree on one side of the river for 1,000 feet was flashing and going dark at exactly the same time. Once his capacity for mental reasoning returned, he realized the trees were not, in fact, glowing, but they were covered with a critical number of bioluminescent lightning bugs that were all illuminating at the same time. So upon returning home, Dr. Smith wrote up a journal article about his discovery, and many questioned him and thought that he made it up. He didn't have an iPhone in 1935. It seemed, like it was too good to be true. It seemed physically, mathematically, and biologically impossible, but it wasn't. And now, thanks to modern science, we know why. Researchers went back to that same place, and what they found is that when lightning bugs light up at random times, the likelihood that they will attract a female in the deep, dark recesses of this mangrove forest is only 3%. But when they light up together, the likelihood of a female responding is 82%. So the success rate increased by 79 percentage points when flashing as an interconnected community rather than as individuals. So I realize that's a lot, and so here's like the Cliff Notes version for you. There's a dude on a boat in the jungle in 1935, and he discovers that lightning bugs have figured out that by shining brightly all together, they can increase their success rate from 3 to 82. I don't know there's any one thing you can do if you're going to take a test that's going to, just one little thing, it's going to increase your likelihood of going from a 3 to an 82. If you're getting a 3, you're probably not getting an 82, right? So here we are, we're talking about lightning bugs. They're insects, and here we are, the humans, and we think we're the superior species. But Acker goes on to say that what happens is society teaches us that it's better to be only one bright light than to be in a whole forest of bright lights. So we want to graduate at the top of our class. We want to get into the best schools. We want to get the best job. And we're taught that in order to have those limited opportunities, we have to compete. So what happens then is we spend the first 22 years of our lives, right, in school, and we are praised and judged for our individual achievements. And we should celebrate them and be proud of them. Because some of them, like tonight, for some of you all, this is big time. It's a big deal. But you should also know that for the rest of our lives, it's really going to be more important because our success is really almost entirely determined and interconnected with other people. So like the lightning bugs, once we learn to inspire and collaborate with those around us, we all shine brighter. And there are more opportunities for all of us. And that's what Acker calls your big potential. So you all have potential. We all have potential. This is how you have big potential. So I want to just translate this into real world career workplace stuff. So I work for KFC, and we are owned by a big corporation called Yum Brands, which is a Fortune 500 company. So you can imagine that Yum takes talent and employees and very seriously. They invest a lot of time and money in developing leaders and in growing their workforce. And so what Acker calls this big potential, Yum distills down into something they call very creatively high potential. And it's a pretty coveted label to earn because it means that this company and that your leaders in the company believe you have the ability to grow and stretch into higher roles. And they even have rankings, like do you have 3-level stretch or 5-level stretch? It is serious. But recently I was in this session that was led by our HR team, and it was for coaches. So see, they're so into this idea of we're all a team that I'm not someone's boss or their manager, I'm their coach. And I saw this slide they put up that I'd never seen before. And of course they make high potential, they make it abbreviate that down so it's HIPO, H-I-P-O. And this slide actually listed out 4 attributes that research shows and they believe lead to high potential job performance. So I thought I would share those with you. So the first one is H, and it stands for higher level thinking. And the bullet points there are learns quickly in new situations, presents complex ideas in understandable terms. See, that English composition class is really important. Seeks out and applies external know-how and insights. So that's experience in the world, right? Other things you've done outside of that workplace. The second one, the I, is inspire and engage others. Now remember, there are only 4. One of the 4 things is all about inspiring and engaging others. Acts as a coach that others want to work for. Demonstrates authenticity and vulnerability. You're not perfect, but you are who you are and you have vulnerable moments. Provides inspirational leadership that engages others. That's all Acker's talking about, right? It's all about how do I make every lightning bug in the room light up together with me. The P stands for passion. Passion to lead and grow. Demonstrates a passion for their work and the organization. Has the drive and motivation to advance. Has high self-awareness of strengths and opportunities. Demonstrates the courage to take risks. The O is outperforms the rest. Sustains high performance over time, pursues big goals with energy and persistence, consistently delivers outstanding results. And I think this one might be one of the most important. Bounces back from adversity and learns from mistakes. Because if you're going to take risks, there are going to be failures and you're going to make mistakes. So it's not about how many times you do or don't fail, but how you handle it when you do. So it all sounds pretty good, right? And so I should tell you, Yum wants like an entire workforce of these HIPO people, which would sound terrible as an employer, because think, they're all going to want to advance quickly, they're all going to want to be well paid, they're all going to be competing for attention. But what they know is that if we have this team of all high potential people, of all people who get other lightning bugs to light up with them, then imagine the incredible results, the business results that they can drive. So I know each of you in this room have big potential. If you didn't, you wouldn't be here tonight, you wouldn't be one of the honorees. And if the impact of this college is anything for you, like it was for me, then it's opening doors of opportunity for you. It's opening windows of possibility. So if I could say anything to you, it would just be walk in them, climb through them. But perhaps more importantly than doing that is for you to inspire others to get on board and do things with you. Take people with you. David Novak's the former chairman of Yum, and he wrote a whole book about taking people with you. Because, if you learn nothing else from all of this, and from me, I hope that you will take away that bringing people with you will create more opportunities for each and every one of you. And if lightning bugs can figure it out, then surely we can do it, right? So that's all I have to say, but I do think it's really important to think about, you are in this mode where you've been competing and driving toward graduation, driving toward all these personal achievements. And from the moment you leave here on, the most important thing you can do is be interconnected, inspiring and challenging and engaging to other people and help bring them along with you, because you're all going to do big things. And imagine if you can take someone with you on all of those journeys, how much more rewarding it's going to be, and also how much more impactful it's going to be, and how much greater difference you can really make going forward in the world. So congratulations to all of you.
Thank you so much, Lori. I remember you as a student and going on the theme of big potential. I think you came to us with big potential, and just from reading, your bio, but then choosing the words, speaking to this audience, you're fulfilling that big potential. And I know the KFC Yum brand knows that there's a lot more left. So thank you so much for everything. I'll also tell you that, as Dr. Adams said, we started this program 11 years ago. So obviously that was after you had graduated, but there is no doubt in my mind, and I know President Lucky and others in the room that knew you as a student would say that you would have definitely sat in this room. There's no doubt about it, because you were fulfilling that big potential back then. So if you will, please come up. In gratitude of your inspiration and motivation to our program, Lindsey Wilson College hereby acknowledges the leadership of Lori Riddle Eberens with the Honorary L3 Leadership Award. Thank you so much, Lori. In a moment, I'm going to ask President Lucky to join me at the podium. So, big guy, you get to sit and relax for just a couple more minutes. But first, I need to recognize a few people. So if you would, let's just please hold our applause until I get to the end. I want to begin by first thanking the L3 committee. A lot of those people are here in attendance tonight, but I'm going to recognize all of them. It starts with Natalie Vegas, Dr. Dean Adams, Amy Thompson-Wells, Miss Ashley Miller, Chris Wells, Abe Cross, Dr. Gerald Chafin, Dr. Benson Sexton, and Ms. LaFawn Nettles. We appreciate so much that they provide to the L3 committee in making these choices and looking at all the applications. We also it would be remiss for me not to thank President Lucky. He joins us every year, supports us, and he is the leader, and he runs the things around here. And without his leadership and guidance, a lot of this doesn't take place. So we appreciate him. Many of our executive cabinet members are here tonight. I want to make sure to recognize all of them. I thank all of you for the leadership you provide us that distills down from President Lucky. I want to make sure, I penciled it in, I actually showed her earlier. Miss Natalie Vegas, Natalie will address the group at the end of this, but I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I get to come up here and be at the podium and say a lot of nice things and shake hands and take pictures, but Natalie spends week after week, day after day, hour after hour communicating the invitations, the letters, putting together the programs. And if you have a great team, you have to have great players in that team, and you have to have great leadership within that team, and she represents that. And I'm fortunate enough to have a team of people that are fantastic, and I know a lot of you are sitting here in the audience tonight, and so for all the other team members and student services, thank you all very much. What about our meal, folks? Was that not fantastic? Yeah, we get to applaud too. Oh, Jeff Willis, Joanne Panko, and countless other hands that have set this room up and put the food together. They do a wonderful job, and we appreciate them so much. The LWC faculty and staff for providing the living learning environment that nurtures all of these students and the ones all across campus. And Natalie and I got into a little bit of a disagreement about this, so I'm going to steal a little bit of her thunder, but I told her she still has to follow up with this at the end, so that puts pressure on her to have to do this. But there's a lot of other people with us tonight, and I sort of close with you all, that parents, grandparents, fiancés, and very close friends, you all are the foundational pieces that these leaders lean on. You guys lean on. Yes, I said fiancés. You can smile back there. And that lean on. You started this. And really, so I want to make sure that we thank all of you. So now a big round of applause for all those people we recognize. L3 stands for Live, Learn, and Lead. And Lori, going back to what you said about big potential, I think that's what happened. In student services, we started talking about all of these amazing students across the entire campus and how they were living, learning, and leading every day. President Lucky, Dr. Adams sort of alluded to that during his welcome. And many of you I recognize. I shook hands with a few of the parents, and I said, I remember meeting you at parent orientation, and we talked about the education inside and outside of the classroom and the things that were going to go on, that they were going to be filled up all the way in the classroom, but outside the classroom there was going to be all these relationships and exchanges where people are going to come together, and that was how we live, learn, and lead. And it's an extension of the mission of this college that means so much. The Student Services Leadership Team has become fond of referring back to Proverbs 27:17 that says, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. Well, tonight we're going to celebrate these young leaders who have been sharpened over and over and over again. They have been forged and tested in the hottest of fires. These student leaders have embraced their educational experience, served in every capacity, and are the change makers for now and into the future. So they're living up to their full potential. President Lucky, if you'd come up and join me now. When I call your name, will you please come up and join President Lucky to be recognized for how you live, learn, and lead. And I want to be sure you all recognize this. President Lucky, every year, it's not like he just goes out and picks out a bunch of books and just, he waits until the L3 committee finishes going through the process. These 10 students are selected, and then he asks for that list of students, and he goes through and looks at everybody's profile, and he hand selects every one of these recognition awards, these books that he personally signed. So I can tell you he's done that for many of the other leaders in this room, myself included, and I keep that book very close, and I reference that all the time. I see people nodding their heads, they know. So thank you for what you do in your leadership there. So when I call your name, we're going to proceed. We're going to start with Mr. Jacob Beckley. Jacob Beckley, please come on up. Yes, sir. You know it. It's a good book, Jacob. Next up, this young lady has been getting awards all week long. I know at the athletic banquet she took home a lot of hardware. I'm looking at Mr. Pooler, our athletic director, and she was all over Snapchat. I saw her all over Facebook. I saw her all over, I mean, she was everywhere. Miss Grace Plumstead, come on up. Next up, we have Mr. Cole Dodd. Cole Dodd, come on up.
Congratulations. I'm proud of you.
Continuing with the program, we'd also like to recognize Miss Christy Antle. Christy, come on up. Next up, Miss Arada Bricker. Arada, come on up. Hold on, wait. Turn to your family. They want to get pictures today. Mom was working hard for a picture. We got to give her a chance. And folks, when we conclude later on this evening, if you want to stick around, we do pictures here, so we'll ask you guys to stick around, so please stick around. Next in your program, you'll see who's going to be recognized for L3 leadership is Miss Carly Causey. Bryson, I know you're looking at your program. Bryson Jones, come on up. Mr. Logan McMahon, come on. I know she's going to smile. Miss Gabby Piles. It was hard to keep a secret because I knew your family was going to surprise you and drive all the way up from your hometown in Georgia, but I'm glad they were able to be here with you. Mr. Peyton Veraldi, come on up.
Congratulations, Chris. Thank you, friend. Appreciate it.
I get to continue to stay up here if you follow in your program. So what goes on during the process is Students, faculty, and staff across campus are solicited through a number of emails and different, media, social media and stuff to nominate students for L3. And we receive an extensive, pile of applications. And then the entire committee gets together and we go through all those applications. I got to tell you, I'm not just saying this and I'm not just being cliche. This was the most difficult decision this year to go through all the applications to narrow it down to this group of 10 students. So I want to give you all a big round of applause again for being here tonight in this room. Thank you so much. When we go through that list, we narrow that down, and then we continue to meet as a group and talk about who are the top 3 L3 award recipients. And tonight we're going to recognize those 3 people. I'm fortunate enough to be one of the people who gets to introduce one of the gentlemen tonight. I had nominated this person, so he's had a lot going on in his life, and while we talk regularly, text regularly, message regularly, with everything going on, I think he neglected to tell something. So a number of people had nominated him for an L3 award, and once that person is identified as an L3 recipient, they're supposed to decide on which of the people nominating them they would like to speak on their behalf to present them. So I did not get the final program until President Lucky's going to be a leader right now. Thank you, President Lucky. So when the programs came out, and I look at the program this morning. The final edition of the program comes out, and I'm reading across the top, and it says Jacob Beckley, presented by Dr. Chris Schmidt. The one part that Jacob had forgotten in this process was to notify the guy who was going to be presenting him. So, Jacob, I had a chance to go through it, but I know you've had a lot on your plate. So, with that, it is indeed my pleasure to introduce Jacob Beckley, and that, as I learned, is Jacob with a K. Everybody has to know that when you meet Jacob. He lets you know that. I began working with Jacob from the minute he enrolled at LWC as a student in my leadership course. Since that time, we have worked together on various campaigns, student activities, clubs and organizations, and even summer camp programs. Now, as SJA president, we communicate almost daily and maintain a weekly meeting time. I view Jacob not just as a student, but also as a colleague and a true friend. Jacob is a thoughtful soul that carries himself with a humble confidence. To say he lives is kind of an understatement because he embraces life to the fullest and tries to live for every experience that life offers. I didn't know what to think of Jacob when I first met him, but he has demonstrated an incredible capacity to live, learn, and lead every day. His growth and development is directly connected to the fact that he embraces life and isn't afraid to take on anything. Jacob lives every day to the fullest, committed to the process of being the best human being that he can be. Jacob has taken on significant leadership roles across campus, participating in critical alumni and fundraising events, engaged in student activity programs, and committing hours of service to the Bonner Scholars Program. His commitment to the learning process in and out of the classroom is unquestionably one of complete dedication. If you consider Jacob's academic course load, SGA responsibilities, work with our development office, service to the Columbia-Adair Chamber of Commerce, and how he has grown within all these areas, it quickly becomes evident that this young man embraces learning. You don't learn and grow from being stagnant. Jacob is always in motion, always on the move, always looking for the next challenge. He learns as a result of his willingness to immerse himself in everything and take on meaningful leadership roles with each endeavor. Jacob may be in the most significant leadership position any student can hold, SGA president. But his leadership is far from limited to just SGA on campus. He has used his experience with the Bonner Scholars Program to create incredible on and off campus leadership opportunities. Jacob has worked directly in the Columbia-Adair County Chamber of Commerce, impacting change in our community, building relationships, and cultivating opportunities for local partnerships. He also worked on campus in the development office, communicating with donors and alumni, working events, and helping with strategic fundraising. The leadership and work that Jacob contributed to the development office was invaluable. Paraphrasing Vice President Kevin Thompson, who's here with us today, Jacob has been an incredible asset to the work we have done on the Cherish Challenge. Jacob's most significant leadership contribution has been his role in SGA since first enrolling at the college. He has worked in a variety of capacities in student government, but his role as SGA president this year has really defined his leadership. Jacob has been one of the most visible has had one of the most visible leadership impacts on campus of any student I can remember in my career here at LWC. I get a sense that the entire student body really embraces his leadership and know they have someone who tries to listen and take their interests to heart. He provides leadership for the student body, faculty, and staff alike, and does so because he loves this college and its mission. Jacob lives and breathes his SGA president responsibilities, always looking for a way to make the college better and to create the best possible experience for students. As a change agent, Jacob embraces this leadership role at LWC, and it's a better place because of your meaningful leadership, Jacob. Jacob will return for his senior year and will once again serve as SGA president. Jacob's love and passion for this place is distinctive. There is no doubt he will be a Blue Raider for life. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me congratulate my friend, L3 Award recipient, Jacob Beckley.
Take a picture.
Thank you, Smitty, for those kind words. I'm not sure who paid you to say all that, but I sure do appreciate it. And I think we maybe need to get him a raise, Dr. Lucky. So we'll work on that tomorrow in the board meetings. But all jokes aside, it is a true honor to be recognized as an L3 recipient. As I look around the room tonight at the award winners, I'm so proud to be a part of this stellar group. After being notified about this award, we had to fill out a questionnaire that asked, "What is leadership?" And I didn't have an immediate answer, and I could only think of one word as I sat pondering about my answer, and that word was action. I remember distinctively learning in my freshman Bonner leadership class that leadership is not a special trait you are born with. Anyone can be a leader. Yet, not everyone is. And it's not because they didn't learn the right skills. It's because they aren't doing. There's no action. And I firmly believe a leader is not someone who reads the right book, even though I will read that book, or quote the right people, or just so happens to be in the right place at the right time. A leader is someone who gets things done, who is followed because they take the extra time to prepare before the meeting, who always has everything together, or because they don't mind to do the things or the job that no one else wants to do. Every person receiving an award here tonight, I guarantee you, has a very, very long resume full of community service and activities, and that's what makes us leaders. You know, there are a lot of problems in this world, and there always will be, unfortunately. And it's okay to complain and shed light on those issues, but leaders don't just complain. And there's a song that I love on the radio that goes like this. I want to share it with you all. And it says, "Well, I just couldn't bear the thought of people living in poverty, children sold into slavery. The thought disgusted me. So I shook my fist in heaven and I said, 'God, why don't you do something?' And he said, 'I did. I created you.'" God has created all of us for a purpose, and I have no doubt that each of us will go on to be change makers. Before I conclude, and before Natalie cuts me off, we're on a time limit here. I do want to thank Schmitty and Miss Amy Thompson-Wells for nominating it. It means the world to me to be nominated by such special people. I also want to thank my family who is here with me tonight. As many of you all know, it has been a very, very difficult past several months for me, and I could not have continued to be successful or even attend school for that matter if it were not for my family. So I love you and appreciate you all. Again, thank you for this recognition. This came at a complete surprise, and this truly means the world to me. I am truly blessed. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I brought tissue because I'm feeling a little emotional already. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mariah Beasley. I work in the public relations office here on campus, and I'm also a graduate 2017 from Lindsey College. Oh gosh, okay. For those of you who know me, know that I love complimenting people. So this is basically a dream come true for me. I get to just sit here and gas up, as the kids say, one of my favorite people in the whole world. So 4 years ago, I was sitting in Dr. Moore's U.S. history class, thoroughly enjoying my time. And I see this tall blonde, and she just immediately catches my eye, and you can just tell from the moment that you meet her that this is someone special. And I feel like we all run into people like that, maybe their laugh fills up a room, or maybe they just have a personality that draws people in, or maybe their dance moves are just really ambitious. And I can tell you right now that Grace checks off all three of those things. So that tall, amazing girl, Grace Blumstead, is a media studies and communication double major. She's also, during her entire time here at LWC, been on the very successful volleyball team. She is from Red Oak, Iowa, and she's loved that place more than anywhere else in the world, and I don't know that she knew how much she would love Lindsey Wilson, or if she would ever come close to the love that she has for Red Oak, Iowa, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to list off a bunch of her accolades. So I'm going to be looking at my phone the entire time because there's a lot, and I've narrowed them down. So she was All Mid-South Conference and an NAIA All-American 3 years in a row. She was selected to the 2018 COSITA Academic All-America team. She was named the 2018 Mid-South Conference Player of the Year. She earned the 2018 NAIA COSITA Academic All-America of the Year award, try saying that 10 times fast, in her senior year. And she was named this year's Lindsey College Female Scholar Athlete of the Year. She's also extremely active on campus. She's vice president of Lambda Pi Eta, the Communication Honor Society on campus. She's the Raider View online newspaper social media correspondent. She's a member of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, a member of the Student Activities Board, and host of our bi-weekly show, LWC Snapshot. As if all of that wasn't enough, she was just awarded the President's Award at Convocation yesterday, and she holds a 4.0 GPA. I mean, it's just incredible. For most people, it would be pretty reasonable if they had a big head and if they had an ego about them, but not Grace. In fact, whenever she told me that she had gotten this award, she didn't understand why, because she said that there were tons of people all over campus who had done more than she had, and she really didn't feel like she deserved it. She has such a kind heart, and she's one of the most genuine people that I've ever met. But winning awards, being an outstanding athlete, and being an active student doesn't always make you a great leader. As Jacob said, we have tons of people who participate in things all over campus, and we have tons of people who have a great set of skills, but not everyone is a leader. What I think really makes Grace a leader is that she has a genuine kind heart and a passion for people. and she puts everyone else before herself and drives others to be successful. She's the type of person who will always include you in a conversation. She's a person who is going to make you feel like you have somebody who truly cares about you and that you are somebody who is number one. She will talk to any person from any group on campus, and she will make them feel appreciated. She's fearless, outgoing, curious, genuine, the type of student, player, friend, coworker, literally anything that anyone would want. If you ask her to do anything big or small, she's going to just say yes, no matter how much time it's going to take her. She's going to do it without complaint. She's going to get it done as perfectly and efficiently as possible. She's not scared to potentially get embarrassed, and if you don't believe me, watch LWC Snapshot, where I embarrass her twice a month. She will do anything to make anyone smile and to achieve her goals. When I first met Grace, her freshman year, she wasn't having the easiest time adjusting to Lindsey Wilson. In fact, I remember sitting in the Slider Mac lab as the girl who strived to make everyone feel comfortable told us that she wasn't comfortable and that she wasn't sure if she would ever adjust. Fast forward to today, Grace, I've seen her cry about how much she just loves Lindsey Wilson, probably multiple times a month. And I've seen her strive and grow in ways that I've never seen anyone grow. She's really come into herself more so than I think anyone ever could have expected. I'm so massively proud of her. And while, as I said before, I know her heart is in Red Oak, Iowa, I think that Lindsey Wilson has a huge chunk of her heart as well. Every day, Grace inspires me and surely others to be a better person, to care, to reach out to others, and to not be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and grow where you're planted. Grace, you're one of my favorite people in the world. I can't express enough how proud I am of you and how much you've impacted me, and I hope you continue to learn and grow even far beyond what you are right now. I think your potential is endless. You're amazing, and I just hope you receive as much love and care as you put out into the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to present Grace Plumstead with the L3 Leadership Award.
Okay, all right. Mariah, thank you, not only for those kind words or for all the time you were forced to spend with me creating Snapshot, but for being a friend, a true friend from the beginning, and for also nominating me for this award. I would also like to thank Tracy and Willis Pooler for their nomination. They have opened their home to me numerous times and have always been there for me. Thank you for letting me be friends with Jacob and Tanner, and for letting me use Lucy when I feel the void of a puppy. You three are truly some of the best leadership examples that can be found on campus. I would just like to say that I am honored to even be considered for this award. I can't even imagine the thoroughness and time spent sifting through all the deserving candidates and selecting the top 10 and eventually the top 3 recipients. I know the amount of high quality people that walk around Lindsey Wilson, and some of the very best really are right here in this room. When thinking of what to say, it was difficult. I'm really sorry. This is a little different. Mine's a little different than Jacob's, so I'm sorry I did it wrong. But I asked myself, what have I done for campus? What leadership roles have I really even had? After my 4 years here, will any of it still be relevant in 2? And the answer, I had nothing, so that was good. I began to think of all the people at Lindsey that I would consider great leaders. Some were in a leadership position like Professor Benson Sexton, while others were peers like Jake Saylor and Cody Maggard, who didn't have a leadership title but led me when times were challenging and I felt lost. They showed me how to branch out of my comfort zone and embrace new adventures. Each leader shared a number of qualities, but one really stuck out to me: their ability to form relationships. I am a people person, so it only makes sense that this would be the style that I use as a leader. Okay. If you knew me fall of freshman year, you were one of the few because I never really left my room, and outside of class, practice, or the dining center, I was confused, overwhelmed, and I felt I had not found my place. I wanted and I tried to leave. I missed the strong relationships that I had formed back home, and I didn't realize that was the missing piece of my puzzle. But it didn't last long before the missing piece of my puzzle was found. In the spring, a group of fellow students embraced me and became an outlet for me outside of volleyball. We were all in the media studies department and shared a number of GoGan classes. We quickly connected and called ourselves the Adventure Club. As the only freshman in the group, I happily followed. This group, which Mariah was a part of, played a large role in my story than they could even imagine. Each following semester, I began to form more and more relationships with fellow students and staff on campus. As I made more relationships, the thought never crossed my mind to leave again. I did a 180 and embraced being a Blue Raider. I was blessed to be offered an internship last spring with the Public Relations Department hosting Lindsey Wilson College Snapshot. We have used this platform to encourage others to buy in, to not only become a Blue Raider, but to be a Blue Raider, to really embrace what being a Blue Raider means. You often hear LWC is family, and for me, it truly was the case. Lindsey has left me with relationships and skills I can take into the professional world that will last a lifetime. I would just like to say thank you to everyone that has been a part of my journey here at Lindsey Wilson College, and give a specific shout out to a few. My volleyball girls, my roommates, my best friends, the OG Hollers, LaFawn, and my communication instructors. I would like to again thank Mariah, Tracy, and Willis, and the L3 committee for selecting me for this honor. None of this would be possible without my parents and their unconditional love, and the countless 22-hour round trips they've made, including this one, and for convincing me 3.5 years ago that Lindsey Wilson really was the only place for me. Thanks, Mom and Dad. You have all allowed me to be my truest self while making me a better student, friend, and leader. Thank you for cradling me when I needed it, but for also convincing me to persevere through the tough times. Just like the famous proverb by Joseph P. Kennedy, when the going gets tough, the tough get going.
Good evening. I'm very honored to be here tonight. Been employed here for 10 years. This is my first time presenting an L3 award, and I'm very honored to do so. I'm first of all going to apologize to the L3 committee. I am going to break your 1 to 2 minute presentation bylaws. I might be up here a little bit. We're talking about leaders, and obviously, you know, it's pretty difficult, as has been mentioned, to get down to 10 people. I'm certain hundreds were probably nominated. To get down to 10 is probably tough. To get down to 3 is even tougher. So I'm here to recognize one individual in this room tonight. So let me break some things down to you. This individual has led our program for 4 years with a perfect 4.0 GPA, and he's majoring in biology. Biology. A lot of people have a tough time pulling a C on an introduction to biology. This individual aced the entire curriculum. 4 years. He's a 3-time Mid-South Conference All-Academic member, a 2-time NAI Daktronics Academic All-American. How else has he led? He was a resident assistant for 2 years. Now in his final year of school, he's a resident director. He's the apartment manager, and he is the assistant to the director of our International Students Program. On top of that, I believe a new label should be created in his honor. He should be the Director of Student Crisis Management. And the person I'm talking about is Bryson Jones, not Cole Dodd. I'm doing this to help give everybody here perspective on just the amazing quantity and quality of leaders we have in the room. And I have the privilege of knowing Bryson very intimately as a member of our wrestling program. He's an amazing leader, and I'm just honored to have this privilege to speak on his behalf. Thank you for your service to Lindsey Wilson College, and specifically thank you for your service to our program. You have selflessly spent a lot of hours counseling many members of our program through crisis, and I'm very grateful. Thank you. All right, now we'll have some fun. So the man of the hour, and the reason I'm here, is to speak on Cole Dodd's behalf. If you don't know Cole very well, he responds to many different names, and he wears a lot of hats. He came to campus. His Twitter handle was Big Sexy Dodd. And he was 230 pounds and describes himself as chunky at that time. Now, I see a man in front of me that's about 195 pounds, that's very nutritionally sound. He's chiseled. He's probably twice as strong as when he came here 3.5 years ago, and I'm just very lucky to have him in my life. Some of the other names he may respond to, like maybe somewhere along the line somebody on campus was like, "Yo, Supreme Justice." That's the only guy that's going to turn around. He's the Supreme Justice of our SGA. He may respond to President because he is the president of our SAC, SAAC. I come off really wrong, I'm sorry. Our Student Athlete Advisory Committee or Council. He may respond to, "Yo, Ambassador, what's going on today?" Because he's also a student ambassador. And introduces a lot of prospective student athletes or students in general to everything that Lindsey Wilson College may offer. He's a finalist for the various prestigious Begley scholarship that our college offers for returning students. One each year. He was a finalist for it. That and above, it just says a lot about who you are. He responds to captain. He's been a captain of our wrestling team for 2 years and will be the only member of our program's history to have that same honor a third year when he returns to us next season. If you don't know, Cole is going to graduate with an education degree and concentrated in social science. He's going to do that in under 4 years. He's going to graduate with a GPA over probably around 3.8-ish. And he will be returning to our program next year because we redshirted him this year. And just going back to when we got him here as a freshman and knowing how special of an individual I had, we threw him to the wolves. And even though his skill set may have not been at the level we knew needed to be successful, we knew that the maturation of this young man was just so outstanding that he would learn a lot more from the lumps that he was going to take in his first college wrestling season. So we did that thinking, yeah, probably be a little bit better to save that red shirt for his sophomore year. It'll just be more valuable. Sophomore year came and we couldn't afford to not have him in our lineup. He just gave us everything we had, and so okay, well, we'll save it for his junior year. Well, junior year came and same situation. We just couldn't afford to not have him in our lineup, and so we get to that point. But I don't like it. We're halfway through Cole's junior season, and I'm not happy that I haven't redshirted him because I'm not in a position where I'm really willing to let him go more than anything. So it was about mid to late December of Cole's junior year, and I approached him with a kind of an unbreakable, clause with our manly contract. I said, I'm ready to commit to redshirting you next year, and only if you're on board with it. All right, I don't want to slow down your life, your timeline. I know you're on pace to graduate, but I also know what our program's going to be in position to do in 2020, and I so very desperately want you to be a part of it. I want you to lead it. And it didn't take him long for him to shake his head, yeah, with a smile, and agreed of like, yeah, I like that plan a lot. And truth be told, I've certainly thought about backing out of that contract a couple times this year because we certainly needed him. but we held true to that. We never diverted from it, and it really afforded Cole the opportunity to go through his student teaching right now this semester without wrestling as a distraction, and I'm so tickled that we're going to get him back next year as a graduate student. What else has Cole done here? Too many things to really list, and obviously we're dealing with a lot of very accomplished individuals here. But he's also the head lifeguard on campus. He's also been the sport of wrestling's Champions of Character representative multiple times, and this year the conference also recognized him as being an exemplary champion of character. So he's a teacher. How many, every teacher we have on planet Earth, I believe, is a leader, and we don't have enough of them. I mean, how desperate is our country right now for leadership? We need all of you. We cannot have enough of you. And Cole Dodd, you also respond to dude. And the funny story there is we were in a seating meeting about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and one coach called off his name and said, Cole Dodd. And I just kind of shook my head, and he caught my body language, like, how do you mess that up? It's D-O-D-D. And he's like, oh, is it dude? I was like, yep, it's dude. And we went through the rest of the seating meeting and the rest of the season calling him Cole Dude. But anyway, now his Twitter handle is Oh My Dad. And I'm not sure how that came about. You'll have to ask him. But either way, I'll summarize this here. Cole Dodd is loyal. One of the most loyal people I've ever met in my life. Cole Dodd has as much moral fiber as any human being I've ever met. Cole Dodd is passionate about everything he does. And Cole Dodd is diligent in his pursuit to learn from other leaders. He is diligent in his pursuit to be better educated. I note these 4 things in particular because those are the 4 things that you must now possess, those 4 characteristics to be a member of Lindsey Wilson's wrestling program. Those were not in place 3 years ago. They're in place because I want more Cole Dodds in my life. I'm very honored to present this for you. Love you, buddy.
Like they say, you save the best for last. It's really an honor for Jacob and Grace, but I'm definitely not the best. Thank you, the L3 committee, for selecting me to be a top recipient of the L3 award. And also I want to thank my nominators, Schmitty, Abe, Ruff. I'm thankful to be recognized by these 3 men that have had such an impact on me as a young man. These men took me in as a young, timid freshman. And now 4 years later, as graduation is quickly approaching, I stand in front of you as a confident teacher that is living out his dream, his childhood dream as an educator. As my quote says in the pamphlet, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. That was by the 4th president, John Quincy Adams. These 3 men have inspired me to dream more, learn more, and do more in my life at Lindsey as well as my life to come. Chris Schmidt embodies the L3 model to a T. Schmidt is always learning, living, and leading. The man inspires me daily to live a better life. About 10 months ago, Schmidt invited me to a BJJ practice, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. At this time, it was a bunch of 40-year-old men and Abe beating up on each other during their lunch break. And now we have a black belt instructor, Patches. He's a great dude. You should definitely try it. And his simple invite for me to BJJ has sparked a new interest to me, and to learn a martial art together. Me and Schmitty have become teammates and train together regularly during the week. He's definitely sweated on me. Dude sweats a lot. But he is, as iron sharpens iron, his relationship with me is an example of that. He pushes me to be a better person daily, and is one of the biggest fans in my life. He's taught me to be more personal, a leader, and the importance that it is to have a personal relationship with your team members. Schmitty could be in a room full of 100 people, and all 100 people could feel like they have a personal relationship with him. As I become a leader in schools in the education world, I hope to model his investment into people and students that he does every day. Another person that nominated me is Abe Cross, pretty much my second father. Abe and I met my freshman year during individual practices. He put it on me pretty hard. Foot sweep me probably over 100 times. And Abe is a true inspiration to me and is my life coach. When it comes about every aspect to my life, he coaches me from school to wrestling, to exercise and diet, and even advice on women. Honestly, if Abe was 10 years younger, he'd probably be my best friend. Some of my life's biggest lessons were taught to me by Abe, and I am grateful to have him as a leader in my life. Abe taught me how to be a leader and a man, and he taught me that a good leader is a person with a purpose, direction, and respect for others. A great leader has purpose in what they are doing and what are they leading. A great leader has direction in where they are going in life and know the destination that they want to reach. They also have the respect towards their teammates and peers, even if they might not agree with that peer, that individual. As I become a leader in the classroom, I hope to display the respect and humility that Abe practices on a daily. Also, I hope to be able to teach that wicked foot sweep of his to a couple of my wrestlers. My last nominee, and probably the most influential person in my life the last 4 years, is my head coach, Coach Ruff. Coach Ruff inspires me daily to be a better person and leader. Coach Ruff has taught me many lessons in my life at Lindsey and embodies the power of the individual's mind. A key aspect that has been central to his personal philosophy while I've been here at Lindsey is the power of the mind. He has taught me with many examples, including myself, that an individual can do anything that they put their mind to. The idea that he's taught me about is the power of manifesting your future. Ruff inspired me probably a lot sooner than he realizes. The first time I met Ruff wasn't during my recruiting process my senior year. I met him at a camp that he ran in Louisville for my club team my freshman year in high school. There was a counselor there at the camp that had recently won a national title for Lindsey by the name of Charlie Pingleton. I can remember the way Ruff introduced Charlie to the wrestlers. It was full of love and pride. Ruff probably doesn't realize this, but he had inspired me that day to wrestle in college. He inspired me to look into Lindsey and their program, and also to aspire to be a national champ like Charlie Pingleton. That day I remember talking to my mom in the car about the Lindsey wrestling shorts and how cool they were and wanted a pair so badly. Sadly, she did not buy me those pair. That day, Ruff inspired me, a 14-year-old boy, to wrestle in college. I stand here today, a college wrestler, with plenty of pairs of Lindsey Wilson wrestling shorts. Ask Bryson about the clutter in the room with my clothes. With a year left in this sport, I love. About to graduate under the coach that inspired me as a 14-year-old boy to follow my dreams. Coach Ruff, thank you for inspiring me daily in this sport and in life. I hope to make you proud of my career as a coach and an educator. I would also like to thank my best friend, Bryson Jones. It's going to be an honor for you and Savannah to get married this summer, and it's an honor to be your best man, man. I love you, brother. You make me a better human every day. And lastly, I would like to thank you, Mom. Kelly Dodd, you are my rock and my true inspiration. You taught me to believe in myself at a young age. You taught me to be myself no matter what. You also taught me the importance of positivity and always seeing the good in things, even through trial and things like that. The impact you've had on me in my life is incredible, and many of the aspects that you have taught me, I've been able to use in my leadership positions, as well as a foundation for my classroom. I'm the person that I am today because of you, and I hope to make you proud as a leader, educator, and a parent. And I will always remember the phrase, "Mat time is good time." I end this speech with a quote that I begin with: if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, and do more, and become more, you are a leader. As a future educator and a student teacher at the end of the tunnel about to finish, I've been able to feel the impact that I have made on my 113 ninth graders that I teach every day. I hope in my career to inspire students and people just like the 4 people that have inspired and impacted me here at Lindsey. Thank you, guys.
My name is Natalie Vegas, and I'm the Director of Civic Engagement and Student Leadership here at Lindsey Wilson College. And like Dean Schmidt said, we got into a little bit of an argument earlier, because he was going through his introduction and he said, I'm going to thank the parents. And I said, no, 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 you can't thank the parents. I'm going to thank the parents. And he said, no, I can't not thank the parents.
So I apologize for the overlap. You're going to get thanked twice. But in our work with leadership here at Lindsey Wilson College, Dean Schmidt and I lean heavily on Kuz's and Posner's book, The Student Leadership Challenge. And that posits that leadership is an identifiable set of skills and abilities that are available to everyone. That definition to me is a reminder that despite our differing backgrounds, experiences, and walks of life, we all have the potential to lead. And you've heard that a lot here tonight. Looking around this room, I see students who've identified and accessed their own leadership skills and abilities and sought opportunities to grow in those areas. But I also see the coaches, parents, mentors, teachers, and peers who've identified leadership potential in those we're recognizing tonight and have given of themselves to challenge these students into growth. And we want to thank you too. So let's have a round of applause for those people. Thank you all for being here. Thank you again, Lori, for talking to us. We did want to mention that she brought KFC buckets for all of our recipients, so make sure you stop by the table on your way out and find the bucket with your name on it with some nice goodies, which is very sweet of you. I could go on, but I won't. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it so much, and have a good night.